Angelina Tyler, one of the most fascinating characters in the Scream franchise in my opinion, and she only appeared in one film, Scream 3. She was also one of the most suspicious characters in the franchise. I ain't gonna say the most because that might be a tie between her and Mark Kincaid. And Mickey from Scream 2, he just looked scary and suspicious. He just did, I'm sorry. But when you mention Angelina, you gotta put in your head how was she not the other Ghostface? But if you know, then you know, and I'm saying that because if you know what I mean, then you know. But Angelina was to play Sidney Prescott in Stab 3, but the movie was of course canceled. Now her character was just acting suspicious throughout the movie, but let's talk about some of the most suspicious things that she did in this movie, especially that had us thinking that she was Ghostface. Y'all have to remember the scene in Scream 3 with the fax machine, them reading the messages from Ghostface as everything comes off of the fax. It was the rewrite of the script as of time now, he about to kill they asses now. And the way the script rewrote, it was whoever smells the gas, and he lit the lighter and then kaboom, they seen him blow up. But Dewey, Gail, and Jennifer ran one way. You can see them running away in this scene right here. But Angelina was nowhere to be found. Why would you run away from everybody? It's because you had a little route planned out already, didn't you? Didn't you? Nudge, nudge. I know you did. But anyway, after they fell down the hill and, got themselves together, everybody looking around where the F is Angelina? And then Angelina all of a sudden appear, and they ask her, where were you? And she's just huh? She never answered that question. That's still suspect to me, still. But that's just one thing. The more important thing is when Angelina ass was hiding in the bathroom stall when Sidney Prescott, my boo, when Sidney went into the bathroom and she heard the creeping around, and she grabbed her pepper spray and she looked under the stall, and they showed them the Ghostface cape, along with the Ghostface boots, stepping up on top of the stall to not, to try to hide, and Sidney busts in there, and it's Angelina. Ghostface mask in hand. Literally, upon watching that movie, even though they knew they were trying to fool us with Ghostface, they did a pretty good job, because I think we all thought that was at least somebody trying to be Ghostface in that stall. But it was Angelina. And then she gonna come back with, oh my God, Sidney Prescott? Yo, Sidney should have whooped her ass. What is you doing? And it don't matter if I'm Sidney Prescott. This is the women's restroom. What are you hiding with a Ghostface mask for? And then she also dropped the cell phone. She just had a whole I am Ghostface kit with her, trying to hide so nobody will see her with it. Then Sidney called her out on it, and she oh, souvenirs. Keep on going with this part of the story. She exits the restroom. Sidney oh, you forgot your brush. Sidney go onto the set and then get attacked by Ghostface. This can't be any more obvious. But let's rewind back just a couple of seconds and let's focus on souvenirs. Now let's immediately fast forward to the Scream 6 trailer and check out the mask. Now, as always, I can be way off. A lot of y'all cuss me out in the comments for having my theories, but it is what it is. But let's also fast forward to the Scream 6 trailer and let's take a look at the shrine. The shrine. The room full of what? Souvenirs. Now hear me out. And if I'm offending you for coming up with a theory, now is the time where you should probably turn the video off. But for those of y'all that like to have fun with the Scream franchise and like to use our imaginations and write our own scripts and make our movie and see what actually happens in the real one and still enjoy it anyway, let's continue. Let's continue by going back to the mask. Now we see an old mask, and if you haven't already, go check out my video on the old mask and why. But to sum it all up, I believe the old mask symbols an old character. Now when I was making this video, I actually watched another user's video by the name of Morticia Munster. I'm gonna actually link her video in the description of my video, because when I was watching it, she gave me another twist, and I kind of wrote it into my own script here. But check this out. Not only does it symbol an old character, but it symbols an old Ghostface. Now it seems like the Scream franchise is actually following the timeline between the original release in 1996 and up to the present day of when these films are released. Scream 4 was released in 2011, approximately 12 years before we see this mask in Scream 6. Scream 3 was released in 2000, approximately 23 years before the release of Scream 6. Scream 2 in 97, approximately 26 years, and then you got the original Scream the year before that. I went over that timeline because I want y'all to ask yourselves and answer, how old does that mask look? And while y'all getting y'all answers together, realize that the mask clearly looks used. Not used like a toy, but actually used as if it was worn by whoever was Ghostface during their killings. It's dried up blood, it's cracked, just damage. It looked like it's been grabbed at, scratched at, hit, blood splattered on it. It was used for the killings. So this is like an 100% authentic, genuine Ghostface Woodsboro murder original mask. Like, so how old do y'all think it is? Comment that in the comments. Just that, like how old y'all think the mask is just by looking at it. Now let's jump to Kirby. And I'm bringing up Kirby because she's like a key highlight in the majority of the theories that I put together. And she also is symbolizing something. And while I'm on Kirby, I want to bring up a very important point. Listen, Kirby died in Scream 4. Scream at that time in 2011, y'all, it was over. It was done. The same like Scream 3. It was the last Scream. And in that case, it was like a one shot and done. However, if you go ahead and fast forward to Scream 6 in 2023, Kirby's character has been resurrected and written back into the script. This is very common in Hollywood, y'all. Like, it's very common in Hollywood. If she was alive, she would have been in Scream 5. So, Scream, the writers, they're letting you know or letting us know that dead characters or characters that we thought were dead or left for dead can come back now. They can resurrect characters and write them back in the script now. So keep that in mind, anticipating Scream 6. And some of your questions about Kirby, or I know you're going to jump out there like, nah, but just let me continue because I ain't done with Kirby yet. Now you get your way, or at least for a second. Kirby survived the murders from 4 and makes a return in Scream 6. I know you heard a theory about Kirby possibly being a third killer, but if you haven't, then yes, it's theories going around that Kirby could have possibly been the third killer. I will point out, even though I take a different side than the majority of the people, that Kirby was only stabbed twice in the midsection. And you can argue, you most definitely can argue, that she was stabbed similar to Billy and Stu, which would have actually been great in paying like a tribute to their characters. Or you can argue that he hit major arteries, because what Kirby never died, folks seem to believe, or ignore rather, is the pool of blood that she was laying in when they cut away from the scene. Stu or Billy wasn't laying in no pool of blood when they was just stabbing each other. Like no, she bled out. But it doesn't matter now because she's back. And I'm not going to get into a theory of, well, maybe not deep into no theory about why she could be Ghostface. That's a different video. But if she were in on it, does the mask look like it's only 11 years old? Or like it could even be a mask from Ghostface in Scream 4? Now, this is a wild card of my video. Enter Charlie. I will have a Charlie video up soon, so please stay tuned for that one. Like I said, it's a wild card. It's something that I really wasn't aware to until I seen other things going around. I had to go back and watch some stuff, and yeah. But I don't know if y'all heard this one before. Maybe I'm late to the party, maybe I'm not. But Charlie called Tara at the beginning of 5? Is that something that just goes overlooked, or was I just under a rock somewhere? But Charlie from Group. Now, one thing in the Scream franchise I ain't never seen them do was use a repeat character's name, or even announce themselves as a name as Ghostface, or during his phone calls to his victims. So that was interesting. And the fact that they chose Charlie, you can argue one way that it was like paying homage again to the Scream franchise. But like, who is Charlie to? I mean, I guess all ghost faces were important, but like paying homage to Charlie? Or was that Charlie? Because Charlie's death was another death that could be argued. And I'm also want to take note that at the end of Scream 5, now, you know, in Scream 1 and in Scream 2, at the very end of it, it gave you like a flash of Ghostface before the credits came on. They did that again in Scream 5. They didn't do it in 3 because 3 was supposed to be the end. They didn't do it in 4 because 4 was supposed to be the end. But they did it in 5, symboling that it was going to be a 6. But the thing that was different about all the other flash scenes of Ghostface was this one specifically was in front of Stu Marker's house. Like where the movie just left off at. And show Ghostface pop up with the blood on the knife and wipe it off like he do with his glove. Was that showing us that it was still a third killer out there? Was that Charlie? Like, did we start the movie with Charlie and end the movie with Charlie? Let's move on because it's going to be more on that on my Charlie video. But Jill is another Ghostface from 4. And I'm going to say right now, if you haven't seen my video on Jill and Stu already, like, Jill, she is out of the equation. If Jill were alive, she would never ever see the light of day again. Period. Now, in Scream 3, Roman, of course, was shot in the head, so Roman's done for. And there was never a second killer revealed. But was there a second killer? And we just never got a reveal. Now, Mickey wasn't shot in the head, but I mean, I'm going to count. I didn't Google this or nothing, but I'm going to count from as many bullets as I heard that Mickey got shot at least 17 times. So it ain't no way Mickey survived that. And we all know that Billy was shot in the head and even came back as a ghost in 5, so he's out of the equation. Charlie and Stu are the last two ghost faces left. At least they're the two for sure known ghost face left. Now you have to remember the rules of the trilogy. You gotta go back to the original. Something about the original was not true, or we were deceived. Something wasn't added. Something is fishy about the original story somewhere here. Fast forward to Scream 5, listen to Mindy, throw in some legacy characters, and boom, you got a reboot. But now you bring Kirby back into the equation to raise suspicion. Throw Angelina in the mix with her suspicious ass characterism. And the fact that we got an old mask, which translates in my mind to souvenir in the new trailer. And we all know how I feel about Stu. I think Stu is done for. Like, even if he were alive, he would never see the light of day again. But I cannot ignore the fact that the original Scream was supposed to be a trilogy leading back to Stu. So I can't ignore that. And then to shed some light onto Charlie and Kirby's characters, they was either smashing and playing us, or about to be smashing, as we was about to see before Trevor came in and interrupted. But they could have been playing Trevor too, in case it was a loose end. But like I said, I got a Charlie video coming soon. Also, can't ignore the fact when it comes to Angelina, that when it was like the original pitch to Scream 3, when they did get to that point, she was supposed to be the second killer. So it's like everything around her was shot with suspicion of her supposed to be being that killer. So to sum that up, the original trilogy was supposed to end with Stu as the killer. And then you get to the second pitch, which was supposed to end with Roman and Angelina as the killers. And then you get to the third pitch, where it's just Roman as the killer. And we also got to point out in Scream 3 that Roman staged his death. Remember when... Who opened the freezer? Gail. When Gail opened the freezer and Roman was in there dead. So the killer in 3 even faked his own death in 3. So Angelina, y'all know where I'm getting with this. No, I'm saying it. Her death looks like it was written to be staged anyway. So yeah. And then even when she got dragged off, it was like her and Roman needed Gail and Jennifer to see that. Like, ain't nobody else get dragged off in the movie like that. Like, it was just her. And all of those of y'all with all the negativity saying that, you know, us participating in the comments don't know the franchise, and why are we trying to bring old characters back and this, that, and the other. Like, you know, maybe y'all don't know the franchise, because you need to go back to Scream 3 and look at Randy's tape and listen to what the rules of the trilogy are. And then you need to jump to Scream 5 and listen to Mindy tell everybody what the new rules are, and bam, you got a reboot. That's why we're doing this. But what do y'all think about this theory and Ghostface and going this direction with these characters? Y'all know I would love to get your feedback. Please like the video. Love the feedback, so definitely comment on the video. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. It's much more content coming, and anticipation to Scream 6 being released in theaters on March 10th, 2023. Until next time, what's your favorite scary movie?